Hello and welcome to the Herdline Podcast, hosted by Trace Johnson and the Herds Headset. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode where the Headset and Trace talk all things Marshall athletics. Be sure to follow us on X and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever else you listen to podcasts. Now, sit back, relax, and let's talk the herd.
Welcome back to the Herdline Podcast. We are ready for a very special episode today. We are joined by none other than Marshall head football coach Tony Gibson. He was gracious enough to give us some time this morning, and we really appreciate him coming on here. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties to get started here, so hopefully we can get all that worked out and get some get really good conversation started with the man leading our football program. He's doing an excellent job bringing us back from where we were just a couple years ago after the departure of Charles Huff. He's doing an excellent job of getting the program back on track, and we're very excited to have him on this morning. So before we get into it, Tony, how's it going, man?
Everything's going great. Really like this football team. Excited about our staff, and look forward to fall camp in August. And obviously before that, have a great summer with these guys.
That's awesome. We really appreciate you coming on here. I mean, just coming on here with two random dudes that just love Marshall. We're really appreciative and thankful for you to come on here. And we got some nice questions lined up for you. We want to hear your perspective on a lot of things, and we won't keep you too long. We know you're a busy man with a lot of things going on, so we'll just get right into it. The Herd's Headset can ask his first question, and we'll just alternate back and forth so we don't keep you too long. So, man, go ahead and ask your first question.
Yeah, so again, first off, Coach, thanks again for your time today. It is precious. I know that you're a busy man. You got a lot of things going on, trying to build this program, this football team, getting us back to our winning ways, and hopefully one day soon a Sun Belt championship. But my first question to you is, you're now 1 year into being a head coach. And when you came into the program, it was pretty much dismantled. You had a handful of players, not very many coaches. I mean, you were really working from the ground up. Now that you are, one season in and different things, looking back on even last year, really, realistically, 5 to 8 plays, if they would have swung a different way, you're 3 to 4 wins, even more in the win column of last year. So, with that said, give us an overall grade on where you think the program is right now in comparison to where you were a year ago at this time.
Oh, well, it's off the charts right now compared to where we were at when we got here. This time last year after spring ball, I knew we had some good players. I knew we had still a lot of work to get done with both the staff and the players. But, I would think we've jumped. It's significant right now where we're at. If we were a D last year, I would say B plus, A minus right now, to where I feel the jump that we've made and just the, how both sides of the ball have just gotten so much better. I just think that we have a very bright future here.
Yep, absolutely. That's great news. And, being a fan, that's encouraging to hear. And like you said, you were only just a couple of plays away from seeing that shift of maybe 7 to 8 wins. And so you were able to retain a lot of the key guys that you had last season. Really, they've become household names now for most Herd fans. And just talk a little bit about what into retaining some of those guys and making sure that they were able to stay.
Yeah, and the landscape of college football and college athletics in general right now, the kids get tampered with, agents get involved, parents get involved, and we had to fight to keep some of our really good guys. We had guys that getting offered significant money to go other places, and obviously their love for Marshall and this university and this town and this fan base is really what kept them around. And, a guy like Toby Payne and Carlos, Adrian Norton, those guys could have went a lot of different places, and they stuck with us, and Slappy as well. But very excited to have those guys back. And they want to see this thing through. That was the conversation we had is, hey, here's where we were. Here's where we were a year ago. When everybody left and did all that, and now here's where we want to get to. And I think it's a clear vision. for them and their teammates, and they want to be a part of something special. And I think we have the right pieces as long as we do what we need to do.
Absolutely. It's a very encouraging news to hear where we are now as opposed to even last year. Just so much more expectations this year and just things that, I think the program, you're going to see a lot of different things, a lot of players coming back that bodes well for us moving forward. But my first question would be, and because talking about some staff changes that were made this past offseason, bringing in Brad Lambert has to be a huge deal for the program. I mean, he's a very successful coach that's been here before, done a lot of good things here and a lot of other places. So just what has Brad Lambert meant to you all so far, even in just spring ball so far? What has he meant to you so far?
Yeah, well, Brad's got so much experience at the highest level of college football. Has been a head coach, understands. I mean, the kids love being around him. He's really good with the staff, very organized, has a system, has a plan, and it takes a lot off of me, where I could be a head football coach now instead of trying to be a head coach, trying to mess with defense, do different things. And I think that's better for everybody. And again, allows me to be a head coach and recruit, raise money, organize this team and different things of what I should be doing. So very pleased with him and very excited to have Brad on board with us.
Right. And thinking back into those years where he was here, man, it was some stout defenses. And so that's exciting. I know that you're a defensive specialist. And so it's going to be an exciting thing to see how the defense progresses this season. But here's another question for you. With your experience, that many fans everywhere, not just here at Marshall, but every stop that you go has an opinion on you as a coach. And they'll form those opinions as people who have never coached a day in their life, some never even touching a football altogether. So with that in mind, what is something about your program internally that some fans would really kind of be surprised really means a lot to the product that you put out on the field on Saturdays?
Yeah, I think obviously every fan base is going to have their opinion, good, bad, indifferent. What we try to do is just keep our head down and keep working. And I tell all the guys, look, we got to, don't listen to the real fans and the people that are really going to support us are true Marshall football fans. And then we have our fair weather fans. If we're winning, everything's good and all that. But, I think just the way that this team and the way that we built this thing back, from all aspects of it, from the recruiting, I think we just had the highest recruiting ranking in program history. And I feel really good, again, with all avenues that we have, coming together and getting this thing right. So, we can't listen to all that noise. If we win, everybody loves us. If we lose, we're the worst people on earth. And we get that. We're in a big boy business. And, you can't ride the wave of emotion either way. And so we just got to keep our nose down, keep working, and get this thing back to where we all want it.
Absolutely. I love that answer. Just keep your head down, keep working. I mean, that's just the Marshall way. That's what the herd's good at. That's what Marshall's built itself on over the years. And I love that answer right there. So my next question would be, it's talking a little bit about your history. This is your first head coaching position, but you definitely had other options out there that you could have done in the past. I think you even mentioned that in your introductory press conference that you could have went somewhere else, decided to go to Marshall. You had to have gotten a lot of experience, a lot of great coaches. Do you think you understand better now than you did 5 years ago?
Yeah, well, obviously there's so many different things. And I was talking to a great friend of mine the other day, Tony Gibson, the running back coach for the New England Patriots. And, he was asking me, what's the biggest difference from being a coordinator to being a head coach? And I said, as coordinators and assistant coaches, you come in and you talk to the head coach for a minute or two. You have a staff meeting around them a little bit, and then we go bury ourselves in the offensive staff room, defensive staff room, and really don't know what's going on outside of those four walls. And as a head coach, the biggest thing is man, you're dealing with people all day long, administration, boosters, players, just so many different things across campus that, that you're talking a lot, you're answering a lot of questions, and you don't even think about, hey, what color do we want this wall when we paint it? How do we want this carpet? So just the workload of that. But obviously, being through it for a year, where I'm at right now, I feel a lot better going into year two than obviously year one. But and the other thing is, as a head coach, is you have to trust people. You have to hire the right people, right coaches, uh, your right recruiting staff, chief of staff, video people, where you're not watching all that. There's way too many things to do, and you have to hire people, trust them to do their jobs, and allow them to do their jobs. I don't want to micromanage anybody. I want to make sure people do their job and grow in their profession and get better at what they do. And so, allowing people to work, do what they need to do what they're supposed to do, help us get better. And so I think that's going to make me so much better in year two than year one.
Yeah, no doubt, absolutely. And you mentioned it earlier. I mean, you talked about how excited you were for your staff. I mean, you've got a fantastic group of guys around you, absolutely. And I think that really speaks to a testament of you growing as a head coach, because you're not going to be as successful as the guys that you surround yourself with. So that's great news. I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to seeing how you are able to just kind of do that more, I guess you could say, people pleasing. Hey, let's. What are you thinking about funds and all that good stuff? So that's really exciting that you can be able to do that. Let your guys coach, and I know that it's hard to be able to release something that you want to have so much control over. So, that's a big deal. But I think you got the right mentality whenever it comes to managing a staff. I think that's how you're going to really be successful. So here's another question for you, Coach. At the spring game, I was able to go to it, and one of the things that stood out to me personally was the quarterback room. Carlos looked poised. He looked comfortable in just a couple of drives that he was in at QB1. Zion looked pretty good as well, very solid, proven veteran, a nice backup. And really, to me, the guy that I was the most excited to see, just because I'd never see him in a Marshall uniform, was Khalil Wilkins. And man, that guy can fly. I mean, he is fast. So talk to me a little bit about your quarterback room, and speaking on really to the future of Khalil Wilkins, if he does decide to stick it out here at Marshall, because I mean, he could be a very special talent if he does stay.
Yeah, I think, and I've said this a couple of times in interviews. And again, I don't know everybody's roster. I don't know if I'm over speaking but I don't know that there's any other school in the country, especially at our level, that has the depth that we have in our quarterback room. I mean, we have three quarterbacks that have started football games. And, Khalil obviously started Power Four games. Zion was at UConn and played a Power Four schedule. I coached against Zion when he was a freshman at UConn. He was the starting quarterback when they came to Raleigh. It didn't end well for him, but he was the starter. He got great experience. And, but, and then obviously what Carlos has been able to do, what he did in his 10 starts a year ago. Zion started a game a year ago for us, and then Khalil comes in. So I'm very, very excited about that room. And obviously, as we all know, if you don't have a quarterback, you're going to struggle. And I feel really good. It allows me to get a couple more hours of sleep at night, knowing that I have those three guys that we could turn to any of those three. And they're all a little different, with what they bring. And the future obviously is we got Khalil for a reason. He has 3 years left. And just like I tell the guys, obviously Khalil, go win the job in fall camp. If you're the best guy, you're going to start game one. If Carlos is the best guy, he's going to. And if Zion is, he's going to. So, it's going to be, obviously Carlos has the upper hand. He's got the most experience in our scheme. And he was productive. So he got a little banged up at the end of the year last year. And, but we have to be able to have all those guys ready to go at any point. I don't plan on running the two quarterback system. That I don't want to do that. if a guy's struggling though, I'm not going to be afraid to pull the plug and put the next one in. So, but I really like those guys, their leadership, their understanding of the scheme, and being able to spread the ball around and do it in different ways. And then obviously Khalil, as you said, can really, really run. He is fast. So,
Mm-hmm.
Carlos is more of a power guy and can get us 6, 7, 8 yards. Khalil can get us 70 or 80 with his feet if he breaks one. So, but very impressed with those guys, and it's going to be a fun competition and see where we're at.
Yeah, absolutely. Our quarterback room, and we've talked about it a lot. Before we came on with you, our quarterback room right now is really solid, and that's a good place to be, especially for a mid-major. That's a great place to be when you have a lot of options to turn to, and I really like what we have there at quarterback. I mean, Carlos coming back was huge. Had a really good year last year. Exciting to see what he could do this year, and plus the other two guys, Zion and Khalil Wilkins, both those exciting players to have on your roster, no doubt about it. But my next question would be, and I know this isn't necessarily in your wheelhouse because you don't really make these decisions, but I just want to hear your perspective and your opinion on it. So a couple months ago, we had Gerald Harrison on here, and we talked to him about the same subject. So if you had control, hypothetically speaking, if you had control over future football scheduling, non-conference scheduling, who would you want to see the Herd play? Who would you want to play? And I know you've kind of talked about one of these teams already. I'm probably going to get brought up, but who would you want to play in the future?
Yeah, obviously, for your money game and the Power 4 game, it makes the most sense for us to play WVU. Obviously, they're not going to play us. They don't want to play us. So it is what it is. But if, that makes the most sense, keep the money in state, do those things. If it's a 2-for-1 deal or whatever it may be, we would be all on board. But obviously, we're not going to get there. They're not going to play. And so, I want to play a money game every year to help us out with different things. And then I want to play the top group of 5 schools. I want to play South Florida, Memphis, Tulane, I want those. Boise State, which is coming on the schedule next year. Western Kentucky, obviously for the rivalry. Toledo, Miami of Ohio. I want to play the best of the best at our level, and because I obviously, for us to get to the ultimate goal and where we want to get to, you're going to have some of those teams on there and beat them. And then I want to be able to have give our fans a reason to come to the games and pack the Joan and all that. I know we have our loyal fans that we're going to get our 20 to 25,000 here, but I want 30 to 35,000 here. And if that's playing better opponents, I'm all about it. So and I think Gerald and I, we've had great discussions of what we want to do and how we want to do this. And as you guys see, they're starting to come on our schedule here in the future. So, and we'll continue to do that. And then obviously, I think there's times too that we're going to have to play FCS school and bring them in here. And I don't see any reason why we wouldn't do that. At least every other year would be our goal.
Yeah, well, the recent, couple of games like you just mentioned a second ago, Western Kentucky and Toledo, man, those are big deals for us Herd fans because that's just like reminiscing. Toledo and us had a really big rivalry back in the day. MAC championships were on the line, and then Western Kentucky, it just speaks for itself. Some of the best football games that Marshall's ever been involved with has been with Western Kentucky. So very exciting to see that kind of be on the schedule. I would love to see everything that you just said. Your scheduling philosophy is kind of where we are at too. Just because the more that we go along the way here, we're finding that more and more Power 4 schools are not really apt to play teams like Marshall that could sneak in there and get an upset win. So that's discouraging in some senses, but at the same time, whenever you are able to schedule those top tier group of 6 teams, man, it's exciting. Boise State coming in next season, man, I'm pumped for that. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
So hopefully we get to see more, those type of schedule. And I think Harrison's doing a fantastic job with that. But here's another question for you. What part of coaching still gives you joy that is still something that you had whenever you started day number one?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is the relationship and being able to develop young men. You get kids at 18 years old that come in and, their bodies, their mindset, all those things, and they go out 4 or 5 years later, uh, and get drafted and do all those things. But just watching them grow in the relationship that you have with them, I mean, that's and to give back to the game that's given me so much. Uh, that football's provided for me and my family, and it's given me opportunities that I would have never had without it. So I want to be able to give back to the game, and that's my why I do what I do. And and we coach these kids hard, but we love them harder. And and I think that they understand that and the relationship. For our spring game, I don't know. I had one of my former players at NC State, Brandon Cisse, that hopefully will get drafted tonight or tomorrow. But just those kind of relationships, the relationship you have with the Peyton Wilsons and Drake Thomas and Pac-Man and all these different people that you've coached, that we've coached over the years. I mean, that's what it's all about. It's just that bond. It's that being around these kids and helping them. And if I've done that and I've helped kids over the time of my 32 years of doing this, then I've achieved my goal. And I just love being around them.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And it speaks to you because, you just rattled off a few guys, but there's been multiple guys that never played a snap of football at Marshall, but they're still coming around the program just to come visit you. So you definitely have made an impact, and I'm excited to see how you will continue to do so and developing our guys here at Marshall.
No doubt about it. And my next question is that was a good segue into my next question. Talking a little bit about relationships with players and things. You're a player's coach. I think everybody would say that. I think every player that you've probably ever had would say that. I've searched so many players, just have such fond things to say about you. What, with those players that you've coached, and you kind of talked about some of them already, 10 years down the road, however many years down the road, what kind of legacy do you want to have, or how do you want to be remembered by those players? What kind of legacy do you want to have with those players? Like, because you've done a lot for them personally and professionally. So what do you want to be remembered for there?
Yeah, I want to be remembered as, a guy that is selfless, not a selfish guy, not an ego guy. And again, to be able to help our staff grow, to be able to help our players grow, and to leave Marshall, when I leave Marshall, better than how I found it. And obviously that's not going to be too hard to do, the way I found it. Now, not speaking to the 2014, I would love to have those guys back, but from day one on how I want to be able to leave this thing better and build it. And again, be a part of this community, be a part of this university, and not just be just football. I mean, I want to be able to support other athletic teams here. I want to be able to be a part of this community, and again, leave it better than I found it. And and then also again with these kids, that they know I care about them, because I think this time that we're in right now, there's no more important time that they know. It's not about money for us. It's not about any of those things. It's about the relationships, how we develop guys. And again, were they better men when they left here than when they got here? And as long as we could do those kind of things, again, do we all want to win the Sun Belt Championship and a national championship? Yes, that's my number one goal. But there's bigger things out there than that too. Is help kids through hard things. And there's a lot of hard stuff right now going around, and we make it easy for kids to quit right now. Not saying we as Marshall, but we as a college football landscape, and we have to just keep doing what we do and getting this team as close as we can get it, and coaching them. And again, they love us, we love them, and they love each other, and that's the goal.
Absolutely. I love that philosophy. Absolutely great. I mean, that creates so much more than just a game of football. And that's, I think, and that, like you said, that's really what it's all about. So I love that so much. Eloquently said.
Yeah, I agree with that. And, we talked about this actually, me and Trace did on I think last episode of our podcast here. We kind of talked a bit about the 2024 season. And man, it was great on the field, 10 wins, Sun Belt Conference Championship. But in the middle of it all, didn't feel like we were doing things the right way. And it's almost,
Right.
when I look back on it right now, it's kind of empty as a fan because, yeah, we won it, but we didn't really do it with all the things that you just mentioned, with making
Yeah.
sure that it's relationships over just, for lack of a better term, bag chasing, something along those lines. So you've been a breath of fresh air to this university and for our fan base, and we greatly appreciate you. I hope that you understand
Yes.
that. I hope that you really know that every day that as you are working hard for us fans, that we are very appreciative of all that you do. I got
Yes.
one more question for you, Coach, and that is this. It's a little bit of a fun one, right? Let's fast forward into the future just a little bit, and we'll give you a hypothetical situation. You just went on the road to Happy Valley and you just beat Penn State by 3 touchdowns. It wasn't even a contest. I mean, it's just y'all martial football. Everything's great. You get back to Huntington, you get off the plane, everybody's cheering and yelling and all that good stuff. And finally, you get a little bit of downtime, right? After all that chaos dies, where's the place that you're going to go eat to celebrate that big win?
Well, Scratches would be closed, so I can't go there when we get off the plane. So 21 would be, or Rocco's or La Familia. So, but those are some of my favorites around town. If it's too late, everything's closed. I guess the drive through a Taco Bell will have to do.
All solid choices.
All solid choices. Can't go wrong with a late night Taco Bell run, that's for sure. But my fun question, and I talked about earlier how we had Gerald Harrison on here a couple months back, and I asked him this same question. And I don't know, I don't know if you're much of a pro wrestling guy. I don't know if you ever watched it. I don't know if you ever were a WWE guy. I have no clue. But if you could call yourself, or if you could be one professional wrestler of all time, past, present, whatever, who would you be and why?
Probably Jimmy Superfly Snuka. I don't know. He would go for you guys. And the reason why is the way that he was aggressive. He was crazy.
Yeah.
I'm up to the top of the steel cage or top of the ropes and, just let it all hang out. So that's kind of how, I coached defense in the past, aggressive, just let it go. And so probably that. Probably Jimmy Superfly Snuka would be my guy.
That's a great choice. That's a legend right there, no doubt about it. But with that being said, I think that pretty much concludes our questions that we got. I hope we didn't keep you too long. We, again, just appreciate you so much, and we're so thankful for what you're doing for the football program, and just obviously personally for coming on here and talking to us. You just two random dudes that just love talking about the herd. Like we said, we really appreciate your time. And we know you're a busy man, so we're going to let you get back to it. And we look very much forward to the fall of 2026 for the herd. I'm very stoked about it. And, we're in a good place, and that's because of you. So we really appreciate that. But head settle, unless you got anything else to add, man, that's pretty much it.
I'm good. Thank you, Coach, and go herd.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate what you all do for us, and, with getting our message out there to the fans, and really appreciate it, and looking forward to a great year, and anything we could ever do, just let us know. Appreciate the fans, and appreciate everything you all do as well.
Thank you very much, Coach. Go herd.
Thank you, guys.